Hi guys, on this video I wanted to speak to you about the wonders of VAR, the video assistant referee, which is clearly not working, is it? It's clearly not working. I wanted it to work. I was an advocate of VAR. Not anymore. Just ask the Villa fans yesterday. They'll be thinking the same thing. For us, that challenge from Tielemans on Callum Wilson, it could have broken his ankle. It was so dangerous. Now, I'm not saying that we deserved to win that match or any of that, because Leicester did deserve to win. We were awful, we were fatigued, we were tired, our formation was poor, we had players that were underperforming, technically awful. They deserved to win, inspired by Jamie Vardy, and the match report video will confirm that when it comes out a bit later on today. And also I'm not excusing Jefferson Lerma's challenge later on in the game as well, because that seemed to be equally bad as well, but not much of a furore went on about it as much as it did with the Callum Wilson challenge. Now, you had media pundits like Phil Thompson, Don Goodman, Chris Temple, all saying what an awful challenge it is and how they just cannot believe it hasn't been awarded as a red card. I just don't understand the point of going to VAR if they're not going to apply the laws of the game. So they did review it, and then if you go back and watch the Premier League world feed of the game, they're rocking and rolling footage. When I say rocking and rolling, that's what they call it. That's when you're going back and forward. They're playing it in real time. And also, they are reviewing footage. If the fans at home watching it are supposed to be seeing what the VAR people are seeing, they're reviewing it from a camera on the halfway line that's about 40 metres away from the action, where they cannot see a single thing. Now, if you watch the Premier League world feed, you can see that they actually have about 3 different replays of the incident. And there's one angle in particular that's dreadful, and it reminds me of Union O'Kane in the Championship. I think we were playing Watford at the time, and he had a terrible challenge on him by a Watford player, and it could have been a similarly bad challenge for Callum Wilson. Thankfully, it wasn't an ankle breaker, and he was able to get up and play. But I just don't understand, because all we've wanted in football over the years is some accountability. Previously, referees after the game would go into their little hideaway and they wouldn't say anything to camera at all. The supporters would argue amongst themselves until the next game, and that would be it. The match would be over, and managers would end up making little narky little comments to camera, and they'd end up invariably getting fined. Eddie Howe's made a few. Jose Mourinho has obviously made a hell of a lot. And VAR was supposed to sort of take that element away, because you've got a body of professional referees who are reviewing footage, on the fly, and they're either, backing up or rebuking the views of the referee and the decisions that they make. But instead they're, from what I see yesterday, they are reviewing some decisions from a camera that's further away than it used to be on Sensible Soccer, the computer game, where it's like a bird's eye view. Absolute joke. Another thing that I found bizarre at the Man City match last week. Now, I don't know what was happening with VAR. Apparently, the supporters on the ground are supposed to be informed as much as the viewers at home and the referees. Now, I found that there was an incident where was it Man City had a potential penalty claim? Was it Sterling that went down? I can't remember, something like that. And then there was a throw, and the ball went out for a throw, and then the referee held it for ages. And as fans, we just stood there like, what the hell? And then about 20, 30 seconds later, we get this announcement on the tannoy and on the scoreboard, VAR checking for penalty. Within 5 seconds, VAR checking no penalty. Now, they were obviously checking at the very start of that sequence, but they didn't inform us. Whether they informed the people at home, we do not know. Such an inconsistency. It's absolutely awful. It doesn't work. They need to either watch the TV like every other person in the stadium and make their decisions based on professional television directors that can pick out the perfect shots every bloody time. Sky Sports and BT Sport are experts at this. PL, even the Premier League world feed, I don't know who does the production for their, 8, 9 matches on a Saturday, but they get the angles, but they're not seemingly reviewing that footage. They're choosing which cameras that they should be making the decisions from, like this bloody one at the halfway line that's nowhere near Callum Wilson's near ankle break. I think it's a joke. In order for VAR to work right, we need to take a look at rugby and cricket with the way that we can hear what the referee's talking about if they go to a third umpire or video referee. So we know how they've reached the decision. As I say, all of the media pundits, they said red. Let's take a look at this challenge again here. The more I look at it, the more it's awful. And then you watch Match of the Day and you think, hopefully they're gonna manage to sum this up fairly. And Gary Lineker throws to Tim Cahill, who says he wasn't looking, so for me that doesn't make it a red card. Tyrone Mings wasn't looking when he stamped all over Ibrahimovic's head, but he got a red card. Where's the consistency? Tyrone Mings, I'm with you on that. I don't think you meant it, although you did stamp again in another fixture later on. But we'll forget about that. There's no consistency whatsoever. And Match of the Day themselves, just to give you a bit of background on how Match of the Day sort of do their thing, right? They meet up 12 o'clock, have a coffee, they sit in a room, they watch the first match. Obviously they can focus all their attention on that, Southampton v Man United. So they're pretty well schooled when it comes to knowing what they're talking about come 10:30 that evening. But then between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, they're sat in basically a room having coffees, teas, donuts or whatever with 7 cameras or 7 TV screens in front of them, like a gallery that a director would have in front of them. And they're watching all these games at once. Now usually they have people that are picking out various elements of which, but the main people, the pundits, who was it yesterday, Jermaine Jenas and Tim Cahill, they'll usually focus on a specific game, and you would usually focus on the team that you support, really, wouldn't you? Because naturally that's what happens. I think Leicester v Bournemouth was a good footballing fixture, so you'd like to think that they would have given all their attention to it, but I don't think they can have. They must have been focusing on other things at the time, because their punditry and their analysis on that incident was absolutely pathetic, and even their own employees have been criticising them on Twitter for being absolutely dreadful with how they've managed to tackle it on the nation's most watched football league programme, and Leicester fan Gary Lineker just sort of brushed over it, and they plucked out the Jefferson Lerma tackle, which is absolutely fine. It's just not working, and there need to be some severe improvements for anything to work. I'm just going to go over a few fans' views about VAR, because these are the ones that have been submitted to us, and I think that these are really interesting. They're going to be popping on the bottom of your screen now. It's the most obvious red card I've seen in a long time, and not even to give a yellow. What's the actual point of VAR if they can't get it right? Absolutely fucking unbelievable. Just proves that VAR isn't the problem. It's the idiot refs who are operating it. Nick, I hear you, brother. Ian, Phil Thompson on Sky Sports said definite red. VAR doesn't work when it's refs backing up their mates. Yeah, I'm on that. VAR is effing dead, Alex Deutsch. Yep. Marcus Robertson, what's the point in fucking VAR? Yeah, 100%. Also, Neil said, I think the FA need to give the refs who are making the decisions on VAR some more training if none of them could see that blatant red card challenge on Callum Wilson. Hashtag VAR should be scrapped. Nick Case, what's the point? All VAR has done this season is give ridiculous handballs. That was a clear and obvious red card, no question. Check for ages, and then they play on. Exactly. Joe, perhaps VAR is just proving what some have always said. Referees are incompetent and on some levels corrupt. VAR just highlights this to a greater extent. I'd like to see someone argue against that point. Yeah. I thought VAR didn't help AFCB today, but having seen the blatant error for the AVFC, so that's Aston Villa last minute equaliser, I just wonder what the hell is the point? Refs blatantly bottling big decisions. Why are they not reviewing properly? Chris, OMFG, have a guess what the F stands for. Gary Lineker asking how VAR missed a decision. What about the one against your beloved Leicester? Absolute fucking bias. See you next Tuesday. About time Eddie stopped being so polite and called out this shite. James, watching Leicester v Bournemouth on MOTD, what was the actual point in VAR? The reason is for it to ensure correct decisions. All checks made were wrong. I could go on. This is Alex Crook. This is a journalist for The Athletic. Do check it out, by the way. Just seen the Tielemans challenge on Callum Wilson. It's a shocker. Most blatant red card you'll see. Another bad weekend for VAR, in my opinion. Just a few more. Again, Chris Temple, as I mentioned earlier. VAR will get panned again when this is on Match of the Day later. It's going to take me the rest of the week to try and find a reason. Tielemans wasn't given a red after the VAR review. Chris, as I said, if you check out his timeline, watch his opinions after seeing Match of the Day, flabbergasted is an understatement. Alex, so surely someone in Gary Lineker's position can try to elicit some sort of clarity stroke answer on this. That challenge in the AFCB game was inexcusable, and again, VAR useless in making the right call. Why bring in a system to better the game if it's clearly not being used properly? Mark Jackson, also, we're going to hear a little bit from him shortly. We deserved absolutely nothing from the game today. However, VAR has been brought in to improve the game and point out any obvious errors made by the referee. Can anyone please tell me why this wasn't a red card or even a free kick? Mark was so irate about it, he even left his opinion via our voice note. So this is Mark's opinion of the event.
VAR is not being used correctly at the moment. How that red card decision was not overturned. He's nearly broken his ankle. And what they were looking at, I have absolutely no idea, because that is one of the most obvious red cards I've seen for a while. And you could tell on Tielemans' face when he did it, even in the game, even in the ground, you could tell he knew he'd done something wrong and he was in trouble. So how that wasn't overturned, I don't know.
Yeah, too true, Mark. And here were the views of Claire Carlin.
There's a question over VAR today, because obviously, and Sky Sports and I believe Radio Solent were also commenting and going mad. My family have said who won at the match, but we're listening to it, that there really, really should have been a red card instant given. So I question the validity of VAR so far this season. I don't think it's really helped us.
I cannot roll my eyes enough. It's so depressing that something that's supposed to improve the game, it can make it so much worse. And this was the view of Cherries fan Simon Hayter.
How is that not a red card? Absolutely ludicrous. The only thing I can give some empathy to the referee, I think they only saw it from the angle from the other side. I have to admit, when I watched it, I didn't see the challenge because we were that side of the pitch as well. However, if we're going to have VAR, surely dangerous challenges like that are the whole point. Then there's the penalty incidents. Last week, Wilson, he's pulled back by Laporte. It affects him. In my view, that's a penalty. Soft maybe, but what is a soft penalty? Again, yesterday, the Turkish guy pulls him back. Sorry, didn't pull him back. He knocked his leg, and Wilson goes down relatively easily, I admit. The pundits normally call that clever. But not when it's a Bournemouth player, obviously. They're fouls in the box, and there's the Grealish incident at Villa. He's gone down under momentum. How can these referees possibly know whether those players have dived or not? If you don't think it's a penalty in those instances, play on.
So there you go. VAR is dead. F VAR. I'm so inconsistent with my swearing on this video. It's not working. And Villa fans, if you think that VAR is not working, give this video a thumbs up, okay? I know that people ask to give thumbs up in videos. If it's not working, give it a thumbs up. And then I can compare the difference. People who have not thumbs up compared to the video views, those people are basically advocating VAR. So give it a thumbs up if you're against VAR, because I certainly am. I'm going to thumbs up this own video myself. As I say, I don't want to take anything away from Leicester City because they were better than us and deserved it, and I don't also want to brush over the Jefferson Lerman challenge as well, but I'm just looking at it from a AFCB perspective. This happened a lot earlier in the game. It could have changed the game, ended up not changing the game because of our defensive carry-on calamity at the back. See more on that in the match review. But yeah, I'm so unhappy. And you know what? There's an international break now as well, so I've got to think about it for 2 weeks. Yeah. Anyway, do subscribe if you found this video. If you agreed with it, maybe give it a subscribe, and also check out the next video. There'll be a match report on the way. I'm so gutted. VAR is dead. Get rid.